Hello, Ken. This is my Michigan State versus Ohio State postgame analysis, and that could not have gone any worse. Before I break things down too much, remember to like, subscribe, comment, and hit that notification bell down below. I greatly appreciate it. Just this a little bit. Yeah, that could not have gone any worse, could it? I'm pretty sure none of my predictions were right. It was a disaster right from the start. I don't even know where to begin to dig into this one. C.J. Stroud is definitely going to jump to the top. Well, him and no, I'm drawing a blank on his name. The quarterback for Alabama. They're going to jump to the top of the Heisman list. Walker's going to tumble. You can't come out and have a game that bad and expect to still be in the running for that. It's not his fault. I'm not trying to say, it's all Kenneth Walker's fault that he couldn't get anything going. No, it's just the offense was bad. Played poorly. Wasn't really a big fan of the game plan, honestly. I don't think it was the right way to try to attack Ohio State. And the things that were working, they didn't stay with it. This was by far the worst coaching job I had seen out of Mel Tucker and company. I'm just calling it like I see it. I think he's a good coach. I think the coaching staff is good. I've really liked the coordinators all year. Yeah, Hazelton has had some struggles, but overall I thought they've been doing enough, obviously, to win games. But this one, outcoached bad. Bad. We didn't execute, and we played poorly, and you can't do that against Ohio State. You know, they're the measuring stick for the Big Ten. If you want to be a playoff contender, it goes through Ohio State, and we're not even close. We are not even close. Wake-up call. Not good. Peyton Thorne, 14 to 36 for only 158 yards and 1 touchdown. Kenneth Walker, only 6 carries, 25 yards. Maybe he was banged up. If you want to win the Heisman, you suck it up and you got to play. It's that simple. Elijah Collins actually was the leading rusher with 3 carries for 29 yards, 9.7 yard per carry average. Maybe he should have got more looks. Simmons, only 7 carries for 23 yards. Completely unimpressive. But a lot of that was the game plan. I mean, why are you coming out and throwing against Ohio State? I don't care if Ohio State is stopping Walker early. I don't care. Everybody knows that they have to stop Walker. That doesn't mean you go away from it. I mean, there were series where they'd come out and throw 3 times in a row and then have to punt. Not only is that not using time, not only is that not ball control, but you're just giving the ball right back to Ohio State to shred your defense. What are you doing? Why is that your game plan? I'm turning around. I would feel better turning around and handing to Walker 3 times and punting than I would be throwing 3 times and punting. At least if you're handing the ball off, the clock continues to run, and you have to find a way to keep the ball away from Ohio State's offense. You have to. They're dynamic. They're built to score points. It's what they do. And you can't come out and throw incompletions and then punt and then give them all the time in the world to just shred your defense. And that's exactly what happened. It was a nightmare right from the start. Don't know what our safeties were doing defensively. It looked like we were playing soft coverage, which I agreed with. I figured that would be the plan coming in. You try to limit their big plays, try to bog things down when they get into the red zone, hold them to field goals, and hope you can score touchdowns going the other way. I mean, obviously none of that happened, but also we were keeping safeties back, and they were getting burned. How do you have safeties playing the deep part of the field and the wide receiver just goes running right past them? How many big plays do Ohio State have? Way too many. Way too many. That should never happen in soft coverage. And if your safety, you should have figured out at least by halftime that this soft coverage wasn't going to work. So your adjustment should have been to run tighter coverage and blitz. Get to C.J. Stroud so he can't just stand back there and allow his wide receivers to run 50 yards down the field and him to chuck it. Right? You got to adjust. There were no adjustments. None. And we got destroyed. It blows my mind that you would continue to try to do the same thing when it's proven not to work. It wasn't working. I do not know if it was a coaching aspect leading up to this game or if the safeties were just getting fooled. But numerous times they would stop dead in their tracks and be staring at the crossing route which the linebackers should be covering anyways, they would stop and sit on that route instead of staying deep. And then so they were hitting post routes and fly routes where a safety should have been over the top, but he was stopped and he was looking at all these crossing routes in front of his face. You can't do that. I mean, you can't do that. You are back there to stop the big play. And not only did you not stop it, you got roasted multiple times. Kimbrough was out of his league, man. You're talking about 3 NFL wide receivers. I do understand that. They're very, very good. But Kimbrough looked like he shouldn't even been on the same field with these guys. He just couldn't stay with anybody. Way too open. Even with soft coverage, they were getting beat deep. And I mean, there's not a lot you can do about that. Clearly, Ohio State's on another level. Everybody knows that. But the execution was poor. The game plan coming in was poor. And it just fell apart right from the jump. C.J. Stroud was 32 of 35, 432 yards, 6 touchdowns. Had twice as many touchdowns as incompletions. Ouch. Ouch. That's a sure way to lose a game right there. Regardless of what your offense may have been able to do, if you can't stop them, if you're giving up stats like that, forget about it. Forget about it. It's already over. Master Teague, 21 carries, 95 yards and a touchdown. Travion Henderson, 9 carries, 63 yards, a 7-yard per carry average. I did say going into this one, our defense was only going to be as good as our defensive line played, and they played poorly. We're not good against the run. Applied 0 pressure on C.J. Stroud. I mean, none. He had all day to pick that defense apart. That can't happen. The secondary is the weakness. Everybody knows that. Ohio State knew it coming in. If the defensive line isn't going to find a way to get pressure, forget about it. Forget about it. I mean, it's no wonder this game was as gaudy as it was. I mean, goodness. And that's with Ohio State pulling all their starters basically after halftime. They only scored 7 points in the second half because they benched everybody. But my gosh, 21 points scored in the first quarter, 28 in the second quarter. Whew. That's a very rough day. Very rough day. So yeah, I'd say I'm not going to linger on it too much. I mean, I think the outcome surprised people in the way that it all played out. I don't think the outcome as far as a score standpoint really surprised a whole lot of people. I mean, everybody knows Ohio State's on another level. They have been for years. Nobody else in the Big Ten is even close to where they're at. So they're a good measuring stick, and quite frankly, we're not close yet. You know, we're mid to upper tier of the Big Ten. I think we've proven that, which is great. I mean, that's far exceeding expectation for Mel Tucker and company. I think most people projected bottom to maybe middle for the first couple years of Mel Tucker since taking over. But, you know, we're above and beyond that, which is good, but we're not to the playoff level yet. Do I think we can get there? Sure I do. He's got a great recruiting class coming in, but it takes time. You don't just move up to Ohio State didn't even just jump up to a playoff contention level. It took years of building and, you know, great recruiting class after great recruiting class and good coaching. And so we've got half of that. You know, we got the good coaching. Now it's just a matter of time until we get enough good recruiting classes in a row to really start to build up to that playoff level. It takes time. I know college football's changed a little bit with the transfer portal, but you still got to keep in mind that these transfers are guys who couldn't start. I mean, some guys are unhappy. You know, I don't think Kenneth Walker was very happy at Wake Forest, so you got a gem there. But a lot of these guys left their previous school probably because they weren't getting playing time. So I don't think you can expect very many transfers to come in that will be top-tier talent, upper echelon talent. So it can fill some gaps for you, which is exactly what Mel Tucker used it for. You know, you fill some gaps until you get your recruiting classes in. But don't think that this is like NFL free agency where great players are going to end up as free agents and then you can just buy them. You know, you can just offer them the most money. College football isn't to that level yet. Maybe someday it'll get there. Who knows? But the transfers that you're getting generally aren't guys that we're probably starting. You know, we got a couple corners who were at good schools and they just couldn't see the field, so we brought them in. They're good enough to be our starters, but to think that they're just going to go out there and one-on-one compete with guys like Ohio State wide receivers, Chris Olave and company, it's not going to work like that. You're going to have to bring in top recruiting classes, and it's going to take time to build your program to that level, but we're on our way. You know, I think we got a good start, but it was a reality check. You know, we were riding high. It was a great season. Still is a great season. Hopefully we can close it out and get a win over Penn State. But it was definitely a reality check and, you know, a nice measuring stick against Ohio State. And we're not there yet. We're just not there yet. But we're working towards it. So don't hang your head too much. Clearly things didn't play out the way we wanted. I definitely thought things were going to play out a little bit differently, but it happens sometimes. Sometimes you just have a bad game. And you know, I think this one got away from them early because we didn't execute. If we execute properly, I don't think we have enough to win, but I think the score is closer. But yeah, I don't want to linger on it too much. It's a tough loss. Ohio State's a really good team, so you know, keep your head up. You know, it's been a great season to this point. Hopefully, we can close it out with a win. You know, a 10-2 season is a really, really good season, far above and beyond what anybody was expecting of this team. So. Yeah, we had some problems in this one for sure, but it is what it is, and that's it. That's how I'm going to leave it. We'll just wrap it there. No point lingering on it. You got to put this one behind you. You got to say, okay, we got some more work to do. Put it behind you, and then show up for Penn State next week. Don't end with 2 losses in a row. Not a great way to end the season. We don't want to end that way, so let's buckle down. Let's strap it back on and get ready for the Nittany Lions. Remember, all love, all the time. Peace.